Hello one and all, this is Hybridsteel. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. So today I saw a little post on Facebook from Playway asking for suggestions for this game. What would you include to make this game better? Well, I couldn't resist making a list because I can't just find one, I got a few. So where do we start? Where do we go? And I think the main thing that I want to focus on straight away, and this is a controversial one because, you know, multiplayer games are multiplayer games. I don't mind playing multiplayer games, but I don't think this game needs a multiplayer mode, as in not playing with people, but I think playing against people is where this game really should go. So, when I say that when it comes to a multiplayer game with this, people are like, oh yeah, but I want my mate to be running around with me and fixing cars. And I don't think that would be cool. Personally, I think this game actually does quite well as a single-player game. It's got enough in it to keep you going. Imagine if your workload got cut in half and you're like, well, I'll just let him do it, and yeah. And you just start looking at walls. I mean, it does get to a point where multiplayer games are okay, but like single-player games are something that needs to be done as well. I genuinely feel this is just the way that this game should be, and me personally, I think that's just how it really should be. But that's just me. You don't have to listen to me, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't see this as a multiplayer game, but I see it as a multiplayer game. You go against people. Now hear me out on this. Number one, we have a drag strip, an airport that literally we don't do anything with. You know, we test cars on it, we crash into the wall, we fly over the fence and go through the scenery, and that's about it. But what if that thing became a drag strip that we could play against people online? The drag racing would be a 10-second, 12-second race that you, me, and Joe Blogs and everyone else would be able to pile in and watch other people racing their cars. Now there'd be two modes in my head that you could do this. Number one, you would just do a bog standard race. Obviously, you would have to have this in like a modded car versus a modded car, or a non-modded car versus a non-modded car, because you know, some of the modded cars have got, in fairness, a pretty unfair advantage. But when it came down to the other side of this, and this is where I think it would like be fun, would be pink slipping people's cars. Now, I'd love to basically chuck a V8 engine in this car and go absolutely mad down the track and, you know, show a couple of people up and even lose my car in the process, but at least I'd be having fun. My money would be coming from betting on myself to win the race and other things like, you know, pink slipping. I'm earning people's cars. That'd be cool. And vice versa to the other people that would be included in this. That's the risk of doing a pink slip race. I think it'd add a little bit more of a dynamic to this game, which does need, in fairness, like I said, a live online experience, not a playing with your mate experience. The other thing that I would love to see in this would be a live auction mode. The reason why is because auctions are cool. I like the auctions, but I hate the AI. Right, the AI makes me overbid on cars, makes me spend more money, and it's been a problem since 2018. Constantly being outbid for cars and constantly being priced over the top and basically not making what I want to make. The AI can go and blow one for all I care. But in all fairness, you know, it is in the game and it's all good. You don't have to use it. You could just get one from a barn. I could just get one from a barn. Or if I could go up against other people who are selling cars online, all rags to riches style cars, I'd rather do that. I would rather go up against other people. If I'm just going to overspend on a car, I'd rather see that money go into a car that I'm fighting for instead of being pushed for by an AI. And that's just the way I see it. As said, you don't have to listen to me, that's just fine. And if you have got your own suggestions, down in the comment section below. And the reason why is because you never know, Red Dot may actually read this and may pass on the notes into their development side and just go, hey, we need to do this because this is the thing. Now, in this post, I did read through a couple of suggestions from the community who are playing this game. They obviously don't know who I am, which is good, because I used my... Yeah, I'm not saying anything else, but I was reading through these comments and there was a very like normal pattern of things that people would like to see in this game. Mainly things towards the customization of vehicles. Now, I can sum this up in a couple of ways because they were just like, oh, but what if I could do this? And then like it's almost like the words failed them in a way. So here's what people are really rattling on about to actually make this game better. Number one, because of the update of 1.0.8, we're all now looking at an upholstery station to be able to repair our interiors. And I'm not the only one that's moaning about that now, which is brilliant. It just means that this is actually a problem for a lot of people and not just myself. On the flip side, this just basically means that you need to now sort out your bits and pieces. Making this game harder for other people to basically earn just the beginning part of money has basically miffed off a few people. Not, I wouldn't say me included, because I gotta be honest, I actually don't mind the fact I can still make money and I'll be completely fine. But things that are annoying people are having to basically fix everything when you don't really have to, but now we do have to. Another thing that I'd like to see is glazer. So instead of having just like having to go off and buy new panels of glass, actually start sorting this warehouse out. And I really mean this, and the reason why is because out of everything, I use like 3 or 4 workbenches. I don't use all the workbenches, I use 4 stations. I use this workbench here to repair my parts. I use this here to repair my body parts. Obviously, I use the engine stand because I build engines. And then I come over here and use the brake lathe. That's pretty much it. The rest of this warehouse is pretty useless. The reason why is because you've given us way too many options when we don't really need this many options. It's only us running around in here. Just you need to divide it up a bit more. And this is where planning comes to mind. On your toolbox, you've got like an extra. You've got the garage extension. Yes. Under here, you can put another 4 spaces. Cloth work, leather work, steering wheels and glass. If you had 4 extra boxes in here and 2 new stations, you'd be completely fine. In this corner, take out this back bench. Well, actually keep this back bench, turn this into your upholstery. Move this bench, turn this into a shelving with bits of cloth and all over it and bits and pieces. And then over in that corner, make a glazer so we can actually repair bits of glass. Chuck the durability that we can only repair them like 50% or above, or, you know, but anything below that, I get it. You know, after 50% you wouldn't be able to repair a bit of glass, but the idea would be to repair at least some of it so we don't have to spend as much money doing things. It gives us a bit more thing to do instead of buying new parts all the time. Same with the upholstery. I'd prefer if I could fix and customize a seat instead of just doing the same thing and buying new stuff all the time. I don't want to buy new stuff all the time. I like repairing stuff and giving it a custom feel. And I think that's another thing I want to get into, but just in a little bit. Another thing I want to talk about is the Boneyard idea. I bought this up when we were going to the auction area. And the idea would be to have like a junkyard / that auction area where you've got all the cars in the parking lots all dotted around. And you would go to a boneyard, which is basically just like a pick and mix of car parts and bits and pieces, but actually in the cars they come from. The reason why this would be a good thing is because if I'm building, like, let's say I'm building a Chevy Impala, and it's like, I need to buy a part, I need to buy this car, or I need to buy this part from this car. Being able to get into the car and take out that one part that I need that's specifically built for that car, and being able to bring that back to my garage and repair it would give me another sense of property in this game instead of just going off and buying a new part. And being able to find them on the car I'm actually building means I know it fits, instead of going around the junkyard going, I can't remember which part I need. Again, these are things that the community, I feel, needs, instead of just making the game willy-nilly and just hoping that people find their way through. I try and do my best to help people, but, you know, sometimes it's always best to give us the things that we're actually asking for so we can have a better experience and play the game as, well, the developers intended. We just want better stuff to do this with. Another thing that gets touched upon in this game is aftermarket parts. Now, obviously, with the modders going like, you know, go crazy and adding configurations and bits and pieces into the game, console users do get left out. And this is where I feel like an aftermarket section would be pretty damn cool. And at the same time, it would actually bring up the level playing field when it comes to auctioning cars off and being able for the customization options as well. There's a game called Automation, a car tycoon, a car manufacturer's tycoon. Basically, you build a car, you put it out into the public, and they buy it, sell it, or whatever, and so on and so forth. Their way of building cars was pretty damn genius. So basically, you get the car as a skeleton like this, and then from here, you're able to basically shape sections of the car, make it more unique. You know, being this is a Chevy Nova. If I was able just to like scoop this down into the corner a bit more, bring this down so it actually hooks down, maybe even make it look like it's got a set of teeth on the front and extend the grille and so on and so forth, that auction house idea becomes a pretty sweet idea. Being able to see an actual person's work on a vehicle instead of just buying a standard car. This again would be another thing that could drive a community. Oh my god, man, look what I've made. Out comes this brand new car with a, you know, a different section of a cutout and so on, and a little bit more detail than other people, or a wide boy body kit that you customize to a specific section of the car. How cool would that be? That would add to the customization of the car. It would add to a community-driven section of the world. It would also add, if we went into the auction and that car went for $500 million, and someone's going to have a unique piece of work that was built by somebody in the game instead of just having the same old stuff that everybody else has. This would add like the NFT market. You'd have unique pieces of work coming through built by specific people, and people being known as car builders would be a pretty cool thing to have in a community. You'd have your traders and your second-hand dealers and bits and pieces, your scrap merchants. Hell, I would go around a scrapyard and buying up all the cars and then chuck them on the auction, maybe make about 5-6 grand per car, but someone's going to get the things they really want instead of just looking around for it constantly and hoping it might be in the car auction. These are little things that the game could really do with to bring, number one, a community-driven section, but it would also add a little bit more depth to the game, so people would actually have a job. Like for me, I actually enjoyed doing bits and pieces of cars up and restoring them, but I know some people would like restoring and modifying them as well. Being able to go on a scrap merchant thing, sell off 10 lower arms or something that can be remodeled for somebody else. You could buy spare parts off of people. The auction house wouldn't just be for cars, it would be for the parts as well. And being able to find the things you need straight away would be absolutely fantastic. And this would be something that I would really look into. And the reason why is because the community is where your heartbeat is. If you can make that heartbeat more stronger with more things that the community are working for, more people will play this game. And basically what I would say is look into actually and getting the feedback. And I would listen to this thread that was on Facebook that Playway basically put up and said, what would you add? And here's the thing. So I took a couple of the ideas from the actual people that were who were actually commenting at the time. I don't know your names, and if I put them up, then that's like me disclosing your name. You could be hunted down or whatever on Facebook and so on and so forth. So I'm going to steer away from this. But the suggestions would be like this. A suspension control, so we would be able to modify the ride's height, being able to like change the ride's height and being able to give it a bit more grip on the road, more pressure and bits and pieces, and being able to actually like make it handle properly. That's something that the community are actually asking for, so being able to do that would be pretty cool. Again, I know it's more work, but we'd probably get used to it, and at the end of the day, doing that would give our cars the customization we feel we need. Another one would be the interior workshop, but we've spoken about that. A modifier would be new part tunings. So basically you're looking at a way of being able to tune the suspension or tune the brakes or tune this and that. And so you'd have like different ways of like braking harder. And you wouldn't have to put too much detail in this. You would just have it on a slider. So slider left suspension, this one, and you would just have like sliders. You wouldn't have to go into a full-blown customization for it. I'm not sure if 2018 had that, but that's something that we want back if it was in there before. If it wasn't, let me know. I'd love to hear, because I can't remember. Ability to upgrade brakes from drum brakes to disc brakes. Basically, taking an old school, let's say, look at the old school Land Rovers that come with the old steel disc brakes, the ones that we can repair. If you were able to change the drum brake to a disc brake, it gives the car more value because it's more modern, it's up to date, and so on and so forth. Adds to a safety rating. That would be pretty cool. It's just the little things that people are actually asking for. One thing that I added to the list, and this is because whilst reading through, there was this other thing that someone said, what about a real life MOT thing? I gotta be honest, I think that would just be boring as sin. We already repair cars, we already take jobs off the phone. I'm pretty certain that doing an MOT would just be like, yay, now I am actually living my real life and I know I've got to do this to my own car. But one thing that I would be pretty cool would be if you were able to have like a little notification on the HUD for deaf people, or if it was actually a tone. And I say deaf people because deaf people probably play this game. But what I'm getting at is being able to have like a little signal on the HUD that you're actually up, underneath my money or something else. And being able to say that the phone is ringing, you pick it up and you get a unique job. Hey, I just had this accident and I need to fix this right now. And that would basically be not one of these missions. It would just be something that just appears randomly in the game. I think having like almost like an emergency phone number would be pretty cool. But, again, this is just something that I picked up on. So I touched upon the aftermarket shop, and I think it's something we need. Again, it would add to the customization, but it would also add if we wanted to make something very, very specific. So to put this into perspective, a couple of days ago I released a video that had Brian's car from Too Fast Too Furious, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7, and I customized that car as close as I could, but there were certain things in it I couldn't do because those parts aren't in this game. So I came up with an idea of an area you could actually put this in as well. Number one, above the dyno. So what you would do is you'd put a solid a floor up here, and you would have two sections. You'd have like a laser, you'd have a water cutting metal desk where you put a sheet of metal in and you can customize bits of metal to go on your car. So this would be like customized, like fenders, customized bits and bits, that sort of thing, and to make a customized wheel. The reason why I say customized wheel is that I tried to get the rims as close as I possibly could on that build, and at the same time I couldn't do it. It was just like I got it close but not close enough. I needed a certain shape, but I went with the one that was closest. But if I could make the rim exactly the same as the one that was on the photos I was taking my inspiration from, then that would have made it more of a restoration in my eyes. Being able to buy a brand new wing that matched the one on the car, Aftermarket Parts would be where we need to go. So if you want to knock out a couple of like extra DLCs for free, like you did with the rim pack in 2018, a massive amount of rims would be appreciated, and Aftermarket Parts would be fantastic. But if you can, we would like to create that as well. So I reckon if we took that set of stairs, put it actually up onto a floor, and actually had our own workshop where we could create our own things as well, that would add to the sculpting of the body kit. That would add to a unique feel upon the game as well. And at the end of the day, it would give everything what we've been asking for a little while. Customization is something that we definitely need. This is a car game. Everybody wants to customize their cars, make them unique, and make them different from everybody else. That's why car games do so well. And at the end of the day, yes, this is a mechanic game, and we're basically sitting here doing the same thing as everybody else. But wouldn't it be cool if we were able to customize a lot more in this game to suit our needs and wants of things that we want to make as well? Being able to make a concept car out of a Chevy Nova would be fantastic. Being able to make a concept car full stop would be an absolutely groundbreaker, because there isn't a game that does it, apart from Automation Car Tycoon, which does it okay, but I would say it's not as good. These are things that I have put together, and this is things that I've taken from the community as well. So, like 4 or 5 of these ideas came from the people on Facebook because they were good ideas. But you take this as you will. I'm hoping somebody from Red Dot or Playway actually watches this video and actually realizes that community is everything in this game. And when I say that, I don't say that lightly. Games like this thrive when it comes to a community-driven idea support, and being able to add the things that people are actually asking for is something that very few people actually do. Now, I do the same thing. If I put out every now and then, if people want to watch specific content on my channel, what would you want to watch? And there's not a lot of us that actually ask this, because some people are afraid of what their community are actually asking for. And my advice, this comes from a small YouTuber, man. My advice would be to listen to the people who are hardcore fans, people who have been playing this game for several years, and they're still here. They're still hoping that you're changing this game to basically make them want to carry on playing. And at the end of the day, that's all I can say. I've made my suggestions. Other people are making theirs all over Facebook right now, and there are probably people on Twitter doing exactly the same thing. I would start putting more ideas from the community into this game to make something that will last a lifetime, instead of just maybe a year or two before you bring out another game. This is just my suggestion though. You don't have to listen to me, you don't have to bother, and I get it if you don't, because you're probably, if you're not listening, then you're not watching this video. Other people are listening and watching this video. But if they put down a comment in the section below and they put up a suggestion as well, then that means there are more people out there wanting this game to be better and to thrive in the market that is already out there. So I hope people are listening. I hope people have got an idea, and I hope people actually do reply, because it would be pretty damn cool. And at the end of the day, I just hope this game gets better. I mean, it's already a mass improvement from 2018, but I feel you do need to listen to people on this to make this game just truly a unique experience for a lot of people. So thank you very much for joining me. This has been Hybridsteel. If you have enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button below. And like I said, if you've got any suggestions that you want, maybe Red Dot will actually watch this. And if you do, chuck them down in the comment section and see what happens. We'll see how this game turns out over the year or so. So thank you very much for kicking by. I'll see you all later. Peace out. Have fun. Enjoy everything you guys do. I'll see you around. Boom. Fist bump to you.